Morning guys, another day living the dream. It's cold out, just above zero. On my way to the gym. I'm going to do 1700 meters this morning, and then this evening I think it's a 50-minute ride hard with a couple of intervals or hit sessions in between. Well rested after yesterday, which is good. Pretty restless sleeping last night. I don't think it's anything to do with the training or anything. I just think I was uncomfortable. Just dropped my son off to school, and on the way we were talking about dreams and aspirations and why we should follow through with them, and how sometimes we become so wrapped up in living another's version of a good quality life that we actually forget our own life and what it means to us. And it's interesting because my son's 11. He's at secondary school. He's a bright academic boy or young man, and he understands the difference in values. And it was a good intellectual conversation that we had about the perceived value of something versus the true value. And for me, doing this Ironman, putting myself through the training is, and I don't hate, but the most commonly coined term is living the dream. And I was actually thinking about it the other day also when I was running along the riverbank, thinking, you know, this is pretty good. It's a pretty good place to be in. Now, it's a pretty good place to be in for me. And I think when you start to align what is important and what you want in your life compared to what another's perception of a perfect life is, there becomes a massive shift in the thoughts and your approach to certain things. What I mean is that there's an element of pressure in today's society, certainly in the Western world, to conform to a certain level. And if you don't conform, you generally are pushed to the side, or you're on the outer edges of social conformity. And I've never really been one to conform, even as a child, at school, and I'm sure I could have been given loads of labels when I was at school. And throughout my adult life, I've chosen not to live or subscribe to another's way of living. And I've been ridiculed for it in the past, but I came out on top. And I think that's a really good lesson to learn, is that just because something isn't right for someone else doesn't necessarily mean it's not right for you. And that's what I try and teach, or where possible educate my son and my daughter in that approach to life, because what I'd hate for them to do is to not follow through with a certain career choice, not follow through with certain travel aspirations because they find themselves stuck in a dead-end job where after 30 years they retire with a moderate pension. Because for me, life doesn't start at retirement. It starts the day you leave school. You know, you're given an opportunity to maximise life through your own skills and talents. And I think at a certain level we fail to deliver on that. We fail ourselves by failing to follow through on what we believe we want to do or what makes us happy. And of course that journey, that happiness changes a lot. You know, it will probably change yearly. You know, what makes me happy today may not make me necessarily happy in 6 months, a year, or even 10 years. Because I'm certainly not the person I was 10 years ago. If I was, I think I would definitely be failing myself. There wouldn't be any evolution. Joseph and I were talking about the fear of failure. He gave me a good quote. That you can never fail when you can learn. Now I've always used there's never failure, there's only feedback, and it means it's very similar. And I believe that's true, you know, and especially true when it comes to training that we're doing, because not every training session goes to plan, and it's just about adapting and learning and ensuring that we utilise that experience, that learning experience, and we move on from it. We don't become stuck in that moment just because it's all that we know. And I've mentioned it before about, you know, myself meditating, listening to my body, and tuning in. And just because I'm living the dream or doing something I want to do doesn't mean that I can't develop, and I shouldn't listen to the universal factors or my body telling me or guiding me to a better form, to an element of betterment. So I guess what I'm saying is you've got to follow through with what makes you happy. You've got to follow through with those dreams that you set as a child. While you're in that space, if you are in that space, you've got to listen to what's going on around you. You necessarily don't have to accept, because then you'd be back to that conformity, to that social pressure. I think you've got to listen in here, and you know, within your shell, of what's important and how it's affecting you. Not the outside world, how it's affecting you. I hope that makes sense. So I've met a lot of unhappy people, and I've met a lot of happy people. What they have on the outside actually has very little bearing on that internal happiness. I've met more unhappy people that have everything than I have people that have very little. And I think it can be a very dangerous place to get into when you're constantly searching for something externally, when many of the answers and the solutions are at an internal level. Because for me, true value is what experienced here. Perceived value is what is out there. And it actually reminded me just then of an article that was written on one of the triathlon, I think it's Triathlete magazine, on their Facebook page a couple of weeks ago, about the benefits of fast tri-bikes. And it had a picture of someone on a incredibly expensive bike, and he was probably at least 30 or 40 kilos over what he should. I say should, actually. What would be of value in order to increase speed or aerodynamic efficiency. You know, they were referring to the value of bikes, the perceived value. You know, an aerodynamic bike is amazing, and it may weigh X number of grams less than something at half the price, but if you're 30 kilos heavier, then it's not actually going to make much difference to total weight, aerodynamic efficiency, or any of the other factors. So the perceived value of buying the most expensive and lightest bike is actually not a true value in reality, or in the bigger picture. And I think this may be a flaw of almost everyone. You know, I've been victim to it. I've been looking for bikes recently, had a bike already, had a tri-bike, entry level tri-bike, would get me around the course. It was an alley frame, carbon forks. Yeah, Shimano 105 group set, so more than sufficient. You know, considering that I'm not a triathlete, never completed a triathlon before in my life, but I decided to sell it and go for something that was full carbon and had a few more Gucci bits. Now, in truth, my time will probably not be that much different on the bike. If you were to give me both bikes, if I was to set off exactly the same time on the day and run parallel, I don't think there'd be that much difference. I'm not a pro athlete. I think there would be a slight difference, but not an excessive one. So my perceived value is not actually a true value, because the true value would be working on my body, the engine behind the movement, I'd probably actually have a better impact on my time on the bike giving more attention and focus to my diet over the next 20 weeks. Well, it's not 20 weeks now, but over the next 87 days than it would on my on the bike, and whether I had the right group set or clinchers or anything. Again, I don't know, I could be wrong. For me, the ride is about comfort. 5-6 hours being on the bike is a long time. Comically, I've said to a couple of my friends that have already done Ironmans that I would go round in a shopping bike if it meant that I was comfortable. Again, there's another value there. Having all of the kit and being uncomfortable or perceiving value based on the cost of it, for me, is not a true value. A true value to me is being comfortable, ensuring that I don't get any chaffing, or doing the best I can to minimise chaffing, lower backache, aching on the arms, all of these things. For me, that's where true value comes in. Getting off the bike and feeling comfortable, entering the run, again, more important than 40 seconds, more important than 10 minutes. I think that's probably true of every age group and every athlete. Entering the run comfortable and happy, as opposed to beaten up, sore and aggravated. So that's my feelings on true value and perceived value. And it really only spurred off as a result of the conversation I was having with my son this morning. $1,700 meters done. I did 3 sets of 500 and then a 200 meter best effort at the end. God, it was hard. First 500 meters felt okay. The second 500 meters I found a bit of a struggle, and then the last 500 meters I seemed to find a pace and got comfortable within it. And then the 200 meters at the end were okay. So now just off to go and pick up some branched chain amino acids tablets to help the muscle repair, and then home and food. So that's it. I'll catch up with you in a bit. Hi all. This is my review on the Zoggs earplugs. Now, I've been swimming now around about 5,000 meters a week for the last 3 or 4 months. Ramped up my training over the last couple of weeks in an attempt to do an Ironman in 100 days, or with 100 days training. And having spent a lot of time in the pool, I was finding that my ears constantly were filling up with water, and I was doing, you see me at the end of the pool doing this. And although I didn't get an ear infection, I think they call it swimmer's ear, where the water goes to the inner canal, there was an element of pain there after especially long periods of time in the pool. So I bought a pair of these. I bought them online. There is going to be a link in the description below where you can pick them up. And I thought I'd give them a crack. They actually sat in my swim bag for 6 weeks without me actually using them. And it wasn't until one day where they fell out on the floor and I thought, oh yeah, I bought those, so I'm going to give them a go. Since then, every swim session, without fail, these are an integral part of my kit. Never did I realise that a simple and small amount of silicone, which I think they're made of, would have such a dramatic effect on my swim. Now, not only do they stop the water penetrating deep within the ear, but what they do is block out so much external noise. And where I swim, there is a lot of noise from other swimmers, from people in the jacuzzi to, you know, children playing at the side of the pool. And they block out so much noise, it allows you to zone in and focus on your technique. So for me, they have a dual purpose. Now, they're relatively flimsy, but they are very quick and easy to fit. They are shaped to the inner part of the ear, and they have kind of this double recess here, so this stops any water, again, going in any further. Literally, all you do, it's as quick and easy as that. It is so simple. And I have a swim bag at the side of the pool, so the case just literally goes into the swim bag. I do rinse them off every couple of swims with some hot water just to clean them up a bit, because they can obviously get a bit gammy because there is, this bit here isn't protected, and for hygiene reasons. They come in this little case, nice and simple. If you close it, it does float, so you know, if it did fall in the pool, you wouldn't lose it. These I've been using for a good few weeks now. I bought 2 pairs. I've not had a need to replace them as of yet. So that's it. Zogg swim earplugs, highly recommended. Not only do they stop you getting swimmer's ear or avoid inner water penetration from swimming or spending long amounts of time in the pool, but they also help block out the noise, which assists in allowing you to focus on your technique and really get in the zone. I use swimming as not only as a physical exercise, but also as a form of meditation, and these are essential. I don't think actually I'd be able to do it without these. So hats off to Zoggs, highly recommended. Links in the description below. Pre-workout dinner, chicken tikka using all fresh and organic and free range ingredients, and basmati rice. Quick, easy and delicious. So that's it, 50 minutes done on the bike. Covered 20 miles. Now just on my way home. It's relatively late. And I've eaten in the last couple of hours, so I'm going to maybe just have some porridge or something, and nothing excessive. So that's it from me for today. Thanks for tuning in, and I will catch up with you tomorrow. So I opted to go for a crab salad as opposed to a bowl of porridge. Spinach, rocket and crab meat with a bit of olive oil and quite a bit of rock salt. That's it from me tonight. Have a good evening, and I will catch up with you tomorrow.